He's using us right now as poker chips in a battle between the White House and Harvard, and really I think it's just dehumanizing that we're being used in this way. We have done nothing to be in this situation. I would be naive if I'm not worried, because Trump has shown that they're willing to snatch people off the street and put them in detention centers simply for speaking up against the Trump administration. So I do have some worry, but it would go against every principle in my body not to speak up against what is happening right now, what is happening against my peers, but also the authoritarian assault on this country. Because I came here because I love the US, I love the values that this country stands for, and all of that is under threat right now.
Aside from everything else, that is what courage looks like. That was one international student at Harvard talking frankly and wisely and bravely to my colleague, NBC News' Antonia Hilton, on exactly what's going on right now and what's at stake in the Trump administration's attempt to strong-arm Harvard and prevent it from enrolling foreign students. Today, a federal judge swiftly blocked the Trump administration's attempt to bar foreign students from Harvard University just hours after Harvard filed suit earlier this morning. In its lawsuit, Harvard writes, quote, "With the stroke of a pen, the government has sought to erase a quarter of Harvard's student body. International students who contribute significantly to the university and its mission. Without its international students, Harvard is not Harvard." Now, while the ban remains blocked for now, it has left the international student community at the school in complete turmoil, wondering if they will be able to continue their studies here in the U.S., and the price will be paid by all Americans if they're not, as the U.S. loses its edge as a magnet for groundbreaking research. The Washington Post reports this about the impact, quote, "A postdoctoral researcher who spoke anonymously out of fear of reprisal to her visa status said she came to Harvard Medical School to do cancer research because, quote, Boston is the epicenter of medical research in the world. There's nothing else like it. There is no question too big." More than half of the people in her lab are international students, she said, and, quote, "Everyone's very scared that at any minute they could be deported." Joining our coverage is Dr. Jeremy Faust. He is an assistant professor of emergency medicine at Harvard Medical School and editor-in-chief of MedPage Today. Also joining us is former top official at the Department of Justice, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissmann. Andrew, I'm going to start with you first. Is what the Trump administration did to Harvard yesterday at all legal? And I guess that's to say, is this temporary block likely to become permanent? Is Harvard likely to be able to count on prevailing legally?
I think the answer to that is yes. And you don't just have my word for it. You have the decision today. You're right, Nicole, that it is just a preliminary decision. It's a temporary restraining order, but that's sort of the first step to being vindicated. And having read the complaint, and to be fair to the government, we don't have their side yet, the full written explanation, but the Harvard complaint is incredibly strong. So it's not surprising to me that they got this injunction. Just to make sure people understand, what is the legal claim here? There are really two main ones. One is a procedural claim that there actually are all sorts of procedures that are in writing that the Department of Homeland Security has to follow. And Harvard has made a really good case that they haven't followed those procedures. In other words, you don't just get to send a letter that says to Harvard, you're out. There are all sorts of requirements of notice, of time to cure, of actually setting out the reasons, like specific factual reasons for why you're taking this action. And Harvard points out none of that has happened. They haven't complied with what the Department of Homeland Security on its own website says they are required to do. That's one set of challenges. Then there's a more serious challenge, which is a First Amendment challenge. And this would be one of many, many cases where the courts have struck down what this administration is trying to do on the grounds of the First Amendment. We see that in, just as one example, the law firm cases where unanimously all 4 judges hearing that have said that the administration violated the First Amendment. That, I think, is going to happen again on a permanent way with respect to what is going on here, that there's a violation of the First Amendment, which is academic freedom, viewpoint discrimination, that is taking place here. So I think there are 2 very strong grounds on the papers.